I hit the floor at work before I even understood I was falling. One second, I was staring at a spreadsheet. The next, my vision snapped to white, and someone screamed my name like it was slipping away. When I woke up, an IV tugging at my arm, a nurse said quietly, "We called your parents. No one's coming." I told myself there had to be a reason, traffic, a missed call, anything. Then I checked my phone. My sister had posted a smiling photo, family day without the drama. Lying there alone, I didn't know this collapse was only the first crack in everything that was coming next. My name is Marissa, and for most of my life, I told myself my family wasn't perfect, but they were still my family. I repeated that line the way some people repeat prayers, hoping it would feel true if I said it enough times. Growing up, the house was always louder for my sister. She had this glow that everyone pointed at: teachers, relatives, neighbors. "She's going places," they'd say, and then glance at me like I was the placeholder standing beside her. I wasn't jealous. At least that's what I told myself. I learned early that if I stayed quiet, helpful, responsible, the house stayed calm. The rule was simple. She needed attention. I needed to stay out of the way. Even as adults, that dynamic never changed. My parents still lit up when she walked into a room, still bragged about her potential, still asked me to be understanding. They liked reminding me she was under pressure. She had big dreams. She needed support. And somehow that support always came from my paycheck. Every week, without missing a single one, I sent them $700. They said it kept them afloat, that it was temporary, that I was saving the family. I believed them because believing them hurt less than admitting the truth. I was the designated helper, the dependable one, the one who didn't get to say no. My apartment reflected that life. Small, dim, bare-boned, bills stacked on the table beside reheated leftovers, vitamins I kept forgetting to take, and a cardigan always draped over the same chair. Some nights I'd sit by the window and watch people walking home with grocery bags or laughing on the sidewalk, and I'd wonder what it felt like to be someone worth coming home to. My job didn't make things easier. Administrative work in a cramped office meant long hours, endless tasks, and the constant pressure to be flawless. I got good at pushing through exhaustion, too good. Most days I ate lunch at my desk, telling myself I'd rest later. But later never came. There was always another spreadsheet, another deadline, another reminder that I was needed by everyone except the people I kept giving everything to. Still, I tried to be hopeful. When my parents didn't call for days, I told myself they were busy. When my sister forgot my birthday again, I laughed it off. When I felt the weight in my chest tighten and my hands tremble while typing, I convinced myself everyone felt that way. But the truth was quieter, heavier, and much harder to look at. I was running on fumes, financially drained, emotionally starved, and still trying to prove I was worth the smallest bit of care. So when I collapsed at work, part of me wasn't even surprised. What surprised me was what came after, what my family chose to do with that moment. And even then, I had no idea the collapse wasn't the breaking point at all. It was just the beginning. When they discharged me from the hospital 2 days later, I walked out slowly, the sunlight feeling almost foreign on my skin. The nurse wished me well and reminded me gently to rest and avoid stress. I nodded, pretending I had that kind of life. Outside, buses hissed at the curb, and people hurried past with iced coffees, unaware I was stepping back into a world that had kept going without me, especially my family. On the ride home, I opened my phone again, staring at my sister's post. The bright filter, the perfect grin, the caption, "Family Day without the drama." It wasn't just a joke. It was a message, a declaration, a reminder of where I stood, or where I didn't. I scrolled through the comments. People complimenting her hair, her outfit, her beautiful family. My mother had left a heart emoji. My father had written, "Such a great day." That one hit hardest. A great day. While their daughter lay in a hospital bed with an IV drip and a blood pressure reading that scared the nurse. That night, my parents finally texted. Not to ask how I felt, not to check on the fainting or the tests. My mother wrote, "Don't forget the 700 this week. We're counting on you. And don't bring your work stress to us. Your sister has enough on her plate." I stared at the message so long my phone screen dimmed. Not one sentence about the hospital, not even a half-hearted hope you're okay. Just that same hungry pull, the same expectation that I'd fund their comfort at the expense of my own well-being. I wanted to say no. I wanted to type, "I can't do this anymore." But my fingers froze. Old habits are chains. So I sent the money even though my hands shook the entire time, even though I felt something inside me tighten, like a warning. The following week, I returned to work. My coworkers were kind in that awkward, unsure way people are around sickness. One of them, Jenna, pulled me aside. "You scared us," she said. "You hit your desk when you fell. Are you sure you're okay going back to full workload?" I lied. "Yeah, I'm fine, just tired." But I wasn't fine. I could feel the exhaustion deep in my bones, stealing hours from my nights and clarity from my days. The smallest tasks felt heavier. The smallest comments hit harder. Every vibration of my phone made me flinch, expecting another demand disguised as a message from home. One morning, a coworker walked past my desk and frowned. "You look pale." I laughed it off, but inside I was unraveling. It felt like I was standing in a room full of smoke, unable to tell where the fire actually was. Then the turning point arrived, not with a dramatic shout, but with a quiet observation that cracked open everything. I was grabbing a coffee near my apartment when a familiar face waved me down. Mrs. Turner, my sister's neighbor. She was the kind of woman who knew everyone's business without trying. She tilted her head. "Haven't seen your sister around much lately. Everything all right with the house?" I blinked. "The house?" She nodded, lowering her voice. "I thought you'd know. The paperwork issues. The loan. Your name came up somewhere on one of the notices. I assumed you were helping her with it. My name on her house." I felt the ground tilt, not like fainting this time, but like a curtain lifting. I walked home in a daze, my heart pounding harder with every step. I dug through old drawers, folders, envelopes, anything that could tie me to something I never agreed to. And slowly, painfully, the truth began to form. It wasn't just that they hadn't shown up at the hospital. It wasn't just the $700. It was something much darker, much older, a pattern, a history of using me without asking, deciding for me without telling me. And now it was catching up to her. I didn't know how deep the betrayal went yet, but I knew this. The collapse had been a warning. What came next would be the breaking point. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the floor of my apartment surrounded by piles of old mail payments, bank letters, photocopies, anything I'd kept over the years just to stay organized. I'd always believed being responsible would protect me. But as I spread everything out, a cold thought formed: responsibility doesn't protect you from people who see it as an invitation to take more. The next morning, I called in sick. My voice barely held together as I told my supervisor I needed one more day. She didn't push. She probably heard something in my tone, something brittle. I went straight to my inbox again, searching for anything connected to my sister. There were messages from years back, ones I'd never paid attention to. "Quick sign this and I'll explain later" notes, and vague comments like, "You'll be helping us all." I remembered signing a few things in my 20s, thinking it was harmless, thinking I was being a good daughter, a good sister. I never imagined those signatures could be tied to a house I didn't live in, a loan I didn't take, and a mess I never made. My phone buzzed. A message from my mom. "Send the $700 today. We're planning something important with your sister. Don't make it difficult." Important. That word cut deeper than the demand. Important for them never meant important for me. I transferred the money anyway, but something felt different. It wasn't obedience anymore. It wasn't guilt. It was the quiet clarity of someone watching a bridge burn from the other side. Later that afternoon, I visited the small cafe near my apartment where Mrs. Turner had spoken to me. I sat by the window, replaying her words. My name on a notice. My sister avoiding home. Paperwork issues. A loan gone wrong. I pulled out my notebook and began listing everything I knew, everything I suspected, every detail I'd ignored because it hurt less to believe the best of them. The more I wrote, the more the truth sharpened. They hadn't overlooked me at the hospital. They had already written me out of their lives long before that. I was a utility, not a person. That realization didn't break me. It steadied me. I wasn't angry the way I had been. That blazing, shaking anger had cooled into something firmer, a boundary forming at last, a line I had never allowed myself to draw before. I spent the next days doing something I'd never done, researching my own rights. I read about loan liability, unauthorized signatures, financial exploitation. I found stories of people who'd trusted family members and ended up carrying debts that weren't theirs. Each story sounded painfully familiar. I emailed a legal aid service asking hypothetically what someone should do if their name appeared on a loan they didn't knowingly take. The reply was quick and steady: gather proof, keep communication in writing, do not sign anything else, and do not send money tied to the issue. Silence is not consent, the attorney wrote. You have more power than you think. I reread that line until it felt real. By the end of the week, I knew what I needed to do, not violently, not with screaming, not with revenge that would make me someone I didn't want to be. My power would be in the one thing I'd never used before: my ability to say no. I stopped sending the 700. I didn't tell them why. I didn't explain. I didn't argue. I just stopped. And almost immediately, the tone of their messages shifted. My mom's texts turned sharp. My dad's turned guilt-heavy. My sister didn't message at all. That silence told me everything. Something was falling apart on their end, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't the one holding it together. I didn't know what they would do next, but I knew this, whatever storm was coming, I would meet it standing. And for once, they would need something from me that I no longer owed. Months passed without the 700 leaving my account. Every week I didn't send it, my parents' messages got sharper. Did something happen with your job? We raised you. You owe us. Your sister is under so much pressure. Stop being selfish. I answered the same way every time. I can't send money anymore. I'm focusing on my health. I didn't explain. I wanted them to be the ones who finally said the quiet part out loud. It happened on a heavy, humid Saturday. Someone pounded on my apartment door so hard my shelves rattled. Marissa opened the door. My sister's voice, pitched high, threaded with panic. The old version of me would have rushed. This time, I set the grocery bag on the counter, took a breath, and walked to the door like I wasn't the one on trial. When I opened it, she almost stumbled inside. Her hair was frizzed, mascara smudged under her eyes. She smelled like stale perfume and stress. "We need to talk," she snapped, already moving past me into the living room. I closed the door. "About what?" She whirled around, clutching a bent stack of papers. "About the house. About you. You stopped sending the 700. What are you thinking? I already told Mom and Dad," I said. "I can't keep funding everyone else's life." She barked out an ugly laugh. "Because you fainted one time at work." "You're not made of glass, Marissa. You scared everyone and you're fine. Get over it." My pulse thudded in my ears. "You mean the time the hospital called our parents and no one came?" She rolled her eyes. "We had plans. You're not the center of everything. No apology. Not even a fake one." "Why are you really here?" I asked. For the first time, she hesitated. Then she shoved the papers toward me. "The mortgage company needs your signature," she said. "There was some mix-up with the original documents. Your name is on part of the loan. We're behind. If you sign and help with a payment, it'll get them off our backs. You're good with this stuff. You always help. I didn't touch the papers. You used my name on your loan." Her jaw tightened. "Mom said you agreed. You signed the forms years ago. I signed what you shoved in front of me without explaining," I said. "That's not agreement. That's you using the fact that I don't say no." Her nostrils flared. "You're being dramatic. This affects all of us. If I lose that house, where are Mom and Dad supposed to go on Sundays? You want to destroy the family over a signature." My phone buzzed on the counter. A text from Mom flashed. "Help your sister. It's your responsibility. Don't embarrass us. Responsibility." Embarrass. The same words they'd wrapped around my throat for years. I picked up my phone, opened my photos, and scrolled back to the day of my collapse. It only took a few swipes to find it. Her post. Her smiling face between our parents at some restaurant. Glasses lifted, plates half finished. The caption, "Family Day without the drama." I turned the screen so she had to look. For a moment, the room went very quiet. She stared at the picture, then scoffed. "Oh my God, you're still hung up on a joke. That joke was posted while I was lying in a hospital bed," I said. They had just told me no one was coming. She looked away. You always twist things. It was just a caption. I felt something in me finally click into place. Not rage, not begging, just a decision. I hit the share icon, sent the post to her in a message, and with my thumb hovering over the keyboard, typed slowly. I wanted each word to land. Then I read it out loud. No drama. No signature. No 700. Her head snapped up. What, you don't want drama, I said quietly. Great. Neither do I. So there will be no yelling, no guilt trips, no more pretending I exist, only when you need cash or a signature. No drama. No signature. No 700. Her face crumpled, then hardened. If you don't sign, I could lose the house. She spat. Do you understand that? People will find out. I'll look like an idiot. Mom and Dad will never forgive you. I held her gaze. Maybe you should have thought about that before you used my name and my money like they were free. Tears welled in her eyes. For a second, I saw something almost like fear. Please, she whispered, dropping the papers on my coffee table. Just sign. We'll fix the rest. You've always been the good one. Don't stop now. I'm not stopping, I said. I'm finally being good to myself. She recoiled like I'd slapped her. You're going to regret this. When you're alone and they're done with you, don't you dare call me. I've already been alone, I said. You made sure of that the day you captioned that picture. She grabbed the doorknob, then seemed to think better of taking the papers. She left them there like they might somehow sign themselves if she slammed hard enough. She yanked the door open. Enjoy your little moment, she said. It won't last. Then she was gone. The echo of the slam lingered. I stood in the quiet waiting for the familiar wave of guilt to crash over me. It didn't. I looked down at my phone. Her post still sat on the screen, the words I had memorized now repurposed. Family Day without the drama. For the first time, it didn't feel like a wound. It felt like a boundary I had finally drawn, and this time I was the one choosing who got left out. In the weeks that followed, the silence from my family was louder than any argument we'd ever had. No more guilt-soaked texts, no more demands for 700, no more frantic calls pretending I owed them my life. Just quiet. And in that quiet, I finally heard myself think. A letter arrived from my sister forwarded to my address by mistake. I didn't open it, but the return logo told me everything. Whatever she'd tried to hold together with my name was unraveling without it. And for once, I wasn't the one expected to save anyone. I spent my evenings cleaning my apartment, not out of obligation, but because the space finally felt like it belonged to me. I bought groceries without calculating how much I'd have left after sending money away. I slept through the night without checking my phone for emergencies that were never mine to solve. I wasn't celebrating their downfall. I was reclaiming the parts of my life I'd handed over too easily. One morning, as I drank coffee by the window, I realized the world felt wider, lighter, like I'd stepped out from under a shadow I'd never noticed until it disappeared. For the first time, the future felt like mine. I still think about that day in the hospital. Sometimes the IV in my arm, the empty doorway, the silence where family should have been. It used to sting. Now it reminds me why I finally chose myself. Setting boundaries didn't destroy my family. It revealed what had already been broken. And stepping away wasn't abandonment. It was survival. If you've ever carried more than your share or loved people who only reached for you when they needed something, I hope my story gives you permission to choose differently. Share your own story in the comments and subscribe for more.